Hello everyone. So in this episode of this oil puzzle system that we are working on, inspired by the Shadow of Tomb Raider oil puzzles, we are going to work on this burning of the oil flow. So here, as you can see, the oil flow, as the oil flow goes first, and if we set fire to one end of the oil flow, you can see the burning continues along where we have oil, like this. This is the demonstration. Since there is no more oil here, the burning will also stop after this point. Okay, now if I rotate this and change the flow path like this, now this is what happens. As you can see, the burning will continue in the same way along the oil path, just like this. Yeah, so this is what we are going to work on today. Alright, so this is what we have right now. We have the oil flow. So now we need to make a burning flow. Right, to do that, here I have this fire particle. So I'm not going to create this. Feel free to use any kind of a fire particle you have. So let me save this, and I'll add a Niagara component to our, let me open this blueprint here, spline flow, and the Niagara system. I'll call this NS fire forward because we might have a fire component. We might have the fire starting from the start or initial point of this spline and go to the ends, or the firing can happen backward as well. So therefore we might need two fire components, but for now let's implement the forward one, and I'll add it right here. I'll set it to disable auto activation. So all I want to do is move in the fire component when the fire is started from one end to the other end. So all the variables that we have here are related to oil flow. So let's create a category, liquid flow, and I'll put them under that. Okay, now I'll add a new variable, forward fire started. So I'll make this under fire. Should we call it burn? It's fine. Okay. And how should we implement this? Let's set a custom event. Forward fire start forward fire. So initially I'll set this to true, and then we would need some variable to stove where currently on this spline the fire is following. So I'll add current distance, current forward fire distance, and I'll make it a float. By default it should be 0. So initially we need to activate this fire as well. And then the spline get location along at distance along spline, and the distance is this. But before we do that, we need to check if this is less than the length of the spline, total length. Only if this is true, we can move the fire forward. I think we can keep the local space here, because what I'm going to do is use move component to it's in this location. So here we need to give relative location. Rotation, it doesn't matter, so this is 0. I'll keep it as 0. No need to is in is out. This time fire movement delay, let's call it. By default it's 0.2. Let's keep it that way. And at the end I'll put this also under here. I'll set the current forward fire distance. So we need to increment this. That means get this and add some value. Let's call it fire step. And this could be, let's say, 20. We can change this. We can see what works. Maybe 10 is okay. Let's see about that. And then we have to circle back into here. Yeah. I'll add another variable here. Auto forward fire start. This is only for, this might only be only for testing, but I'll add that. I'll leave it false by default, and I'll make these instance editable in case I need to change them. Now in the begin play, maybe after some delay, let's give a delay of, let's say, 5 seconds, and then I'll call start forward fire. And here we need to check the condition too, whether we want to start the fire. Forward fire start. Compile. Okay, let's see. We need to, I already enabled it. For one instance, I'll enable auto fire start. That means this one. 5 seconds, yeah. Okay, it did start the fire. So maybe in a while, after it reached the end, it should stop the fire. So yeah, let's add a ns fire forward, deactivate like this. And the next thing we need to work on is how to make this fire spread into the next section. Now to do that, just like we did the check for this on backward end reached, when the flow reached the end, we can implement a function similar to this. But before that, we need to have the backward fire flow as well. Otherwise, we will not be able to set fire from both ends, start fire from both ends, start and end. But okay, here for that, auto forward fire start, forward fire started. I'll add another one. Backward fire started. Fire moment delays step, we can reuse them, but we need to duplicate this current backward fire distance. Okay, now let me duplicate this event and let's call it start backward fire and replace this with backward fire started, and this one with the ns fire backward. Oh, can't replace it. And before that, we will have to make sure that this is placed on the end of the spline. So we can do this. We can get the spline, get the spline length, and we can set current backward fire distance because we are starting from the end. And also we can get location at distance along the spline. So we might need some space here. Use this or this, same thing. And we can use world space here. And then set world location. Okay. And instead of this, we need to use this one. Current backward flow fire distance. And here we need to check if this is larger than 0. No need to check against the length. And then this one too. Need to replace. The forward one, the backward one. This place it current backward, and here instead of plus it should be a minus. Right, and this one also backward. Okay, compile. Now let's test this with. Here I'll just this one. Start backward fire. Let's see, just to see if it works. It doesn't look like it's moving. Why? Sorry. I should have used current backward fire distance, not the flow distance. Can't I replace? Okay, let's test now. Yeah, that's why I paused. Okay, let's test again. Yeah, it's working. Okay, so thanks for watching. I'm going to stop this episode right here. So next time let's work on how to make the fire spread from one section to the next as the fire reach the end. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions in the comments. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.